Okay, so this one's just a quick update. I am currently working on a analysis video of their mother, which will hopefully be out later today. But in this video, I just wanted to do a quick update on, well, talk about the update from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and have a quick look at that and discuss what's not being said in that update. In other words, reading between the lines a little bit. First of all, I'm going to do my little section which I'm going to call Grifter of the Day, because it seems that a lot of people are latching onto this case who are in it for the wrong reasons. Today's Grifter of the Day is CNY Family, who has put out a video claiming that pink and blue shirts were found on the side of the road. This is actually based on the audio from the dispatch calls where there is a dispatch call where they say that they have had a report of pink and blue clothes found on the side of the road. But if you actually listen through the dispatch calls, you will hear that in actual fact, when they investigate it, it is a piece of pink material, a piece of blue material, and a piece of purple material. Now, CNY does actually make a vague reference to that at the end of her video, but if you blink, you're going to miss it, and she actually doesn't actually tie it in with this discovery of pink and blue shirts. In other words, she doesn't say, actually, when they investigated, they discovered that it was nothing more than this. Of course, in order to support her version of the story, CNY doesn't play any of the audio clips, so that you have to just take her word for what she's telling you, which, as I said, is somewhat inaccurate. Of course, the thumbnail alone is helping to spread more misinformation. So, for those of you who are not familiar with my channel and maybe have just started watching my Jack and Lily content, you may have gathered by now that I don't play well with grifters. My channel is here solely for the purpose of the victims. I am here to tell their stories and to advocate for justice where needed. Of course, I'm also here for missing children like Jack and Lily. So it saddens me when I see people jumping onto a case simply because they believe that it is going to be a money spinner for them. We need to remember the reason that we are talking about this case, and that reason is two beautiful little children. Lily, who is only 6, Jack, who is only 4. They are missing. They need to be found. That needs to be our focus. Okay, so this is the update from the RCMP as of 13th of May. The Victoria County District RCMP, with the assistance of the North East Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, continue to investigate the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan. You'll notice they have now corrected the spelling of Lily's name, as should we all, to spelling it with a double L. It turns out the initial bits of information that were going out had her name spelt wrong. Note also that they have the Major Crime Unit still heavily involved, and you'll see more about that as we go through this article. Okay, so we're exploring all avenues in this missing persons investigation, says Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon, Pictou County District RCMP. We have officers from multiple disciplines dedicated to finding Lily and Jack, including highly trained RCMP, major crime and forensic investigators. They are telling you here that it is definitely now a criminal investigation. To date, more than 180 tips have been received from the public and are being followed up on. Officers have so far identified 35 people for formal interviews as part of the investigation, including community members and those closest to the children. And on May 8th and 9th, the RCMP's underwater recovery team scoured bodies of water around Lansdowne Station. URT's 2-day operation didn't uncover any evidence. So there is our confirmation right there of divers checking various bodies of water. But significant here is their statement that they have identified 35 people for formal interviews. This is certainly no longer a investigation of children who have wandered off into the woods. This is a criminal investigation. We continue to work day and night on this file, says Sergeant McKinnon. Like all Nova Scotians, we want answers and we want to know what happened to these children. We continue to work day and night on this file. In other words, the investigation, not just the search. They have moved into full-on investigation mode as opposed to search mode. As I said the other day, the reason they called the search off after only 6 days was because I believe, based on what was said in the news conference, they know those children did not walk off into the woods. Now, this is just a quick recap of the case, but I'll go through it anyway. So on May 2nd at approximately 10 a.m, Pictou County District RCMP received a report that Lily and Jack were missing. They were believed to have wandered away from their home on Gairloch Road. A multi-agency search and missing persons investigation began immediately. The search, which was scaled back to specific areas on May 7th, has covered 5.5 square kilometres of heavily wooded rural terrain in the Gairloch Road area. It has involved up to 160 trained volunteer searchers and many others, and tens of thousands of search hours. Efforts to locate Lily and Jack also included 2 vulnerable missing persons alerts. You've got a paragraph there with contact information for anyone who's got tips, and it points out that people can remain anonymous by contacting Crime Stoppers. They have a paragraph here. Our thoughts continue to be with the children's loved ones and the community at this difficult time. I mentioned this during the press conference, but I'll mention it again. They are referring to the children's loved ones, not the children's parents. Because, of course, in a situation like this, when you have a report of children walking off into the woods and it seems pretty clear that that didn't happen, number one suspects are going to be the parents, because their stories don't match. They also have down the bottom here, note to media, as this is an active, ongoing investigation, information will be released as it becomes available. This is an active, ongoing investigation. Again, this is no longer a search for missing children. This is a criminal investigation. So, while the investigation has, of course, moved away from a search, while there are people still searching, but it is scaled back and it is targeted. So, there's no longer the focus of the investigation. We know also that they have said quite clearly it is not an abduction case. So we know that it is a criminal investigation. But look, at the end of the day, let's not lose all hope. Miracles have happened. So until we hear something definite, I guess we shouldn't give up all hope. Sadly, I do think that the end result of this case is not going to be a positive one. So, on that note, thanks for listening. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe. Also, please hit the like button and leave a comment below. Thank you, and I will catch you in the next one.